I don't believe in matter or Rupa because I've never experienced it directly, and I don't believe in anything I don't see with my own eyes. Is this a problem? That's interesting. I mean, you have experienced Rupa directly. You experience it all the time. I mean, that's what you're experiencing. You're experiencing states of hardness and softness and stiffness and flaccidity and hardness and hot and cool. You're empirically, objectively speaking, unless you're a strange person, you're experiencing all of those. The only one you were not able to experience is the water element. But the other three elements we're experiencing all the time. That's what it means by Rupa or matter. Matter is this aspect of experience. Not all experience is formed with matter. Some experiences are mental, where you're thinking about something, or planning something or whatever, but the majority of our experiences do have a physical component. Even when you see something, that's an experience of the physical. I think perhaps the problem is intellectually you categorize all of this as mental because it's the experience, right? There's the experiencer, the mind, and so you think, well, it's just a mental experience. But that's only intellectual. The reality is you are experiencing heat and cold and hardness and softness and stiffness and flaccidity. These 6 things everyone experiences. Every human being experiences these aspects, or these aspects of reality which are considered material. They're not mental. The experience is based on the mind, right? Without the mind there is no experience, but the matter does exist. So it might be a bit of a problem if you don't see that clearly as it is. On the other hand, the most important thing is to see experience for what it is. So if you classify it as physical or as mental, it's not really important. The point is that you understand that when there is heat, you understand it to be heat, and you don't understand it to be me and to be mine and to be I. So when you feel hot, you know this is hot. When you feel cold, you know this is cold, and you're clear only in the mere awareness, pati sati mata, as we learned yesterday. The bare and specific awareness or recognition of the object as it is. Whether you call that physical or mental, they're just names and classifications. But there is something to that, because to the classification, because the hot is not it's not coming from the mind. It's coming from the world, the physical world that we say is around us. That on some level is all around us. And so when there's fire, you feel the heat. So that's physical. It's not coming from your mind. There actually is heat there, coming from the physical world, whatever that is.
And when you do walking meditation, you experience the walking. You feel the foot on the floor. You experience the movements. When you are sitting in meditation, you have the breath going in and out. You experience, or you feel the rising and the falling of the abdomen. So that as well is body.
Exactly.
That's matter.
Yeah, I think it's probably an intellectualization, which is why it's important to give up our ideas of what we believe in. No, it's not a problem if you don't believe in something. We're trying to give up all beliefs, right? But I wouldn't attach to the view that matter doesn't exist, or so on, or that this is all meant that the heat that you feel is only mental or something like that, because that's still a view, and you should accept it for what it is. Heat is heat, and to think of that as being mental. I did a video a long time ago about this, about the argument against body or materialism, and what the opposite is, I guess mysticism or something, or mentalism. whatever it's actually called. So there are two arguments where one says that only the material exists, and one says that only the mental exists. And these two arguments are found in the world. From the sounds of it, you might be on the latter side, thinking that only the mind exists. But the argument against both of these is that either one requires something extra. It requires a belief or a view that what you're experiencing is something other than what it is. Because clearly we have what appears to be physical, and we have what appears to be mental. That's what empirically what we have. So the materialists create the argument that the physical is created by the mental is created by the physical as an epiphenomenon, or it's an illusion, or so on. They add that in. People who say there is only the mind do the same thing in the other direction. They say the physical is just an illusion. It's something that is created by the mind that appears to be physical. Now, if you had a good reason to suggest either of these, if you had some proof or some argument to make in favor of them, then all well and good, and we can talk about that. But there's I think a very strong point that you don't need to take up either extreme. There's no reason that I can see for the need to say that the physical doesn't exist or that the mental doesn't exist, because for all intents, or as it appears to us, they both do exist. And really that's, I think, quite key in Buddhism, that what appears is reality. And reality is actually as it appears. It's just that we don't spend enough time looking at what appears. It's not that it seems different than what it is. It's that we, rather than sticking with the reality or with what appears, we go on and extrapolate on it. We create an additional idea or perception or belief or partiality towards the objects of experience. But they really are as they appear. That's, I think, quite important. And this goes against really, material science or many religious traditions who say no, reality isn't what as it appears. And the argument or the point is that there's no reason to believe that. There's no reason to say that beyond this kind of attachment to a belief. Because what does it mean to say that things aren't as they appear? Things appear that way. There appears to be heat. What does it mean to say that reality is other than that? Right? That reality is other than experience. It just becomes an intellectual activity where you say, no, reality is not this. Actually, you're not experiencing heat, like this idea of Maya in Hinduism. It's an intellectual exercise. It's not real. Yes, there can be states where there is no heat, there is no cold, and so on. But at the moment that you experience heat, that you experience cold, there is heat and there is cold. What else could you say than that? How could you deny the fact that what you're experiencing is real without appealing to an intellectual activity?
To what you write, I don't see with my own eyes, or I don't believe in anything I don't see with my own eyes. I just wanted to say that this is a good quality, I would say, and the Buddha himself encouraged us to only believe what we can prove. So not to believe blindly what we are told and what others say and so on. So this is not a problem. But if you go, you can overdo it. You can become too fixed upon your own opinion about things, and that might be a problem then when you are not open anymore for what people say, or for what teachers say, or you might not be able to see reality as it is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say anything to say I believe X when you haven't experienced it, but it also doesn't say anything to say I don't believe in X when you haven't experienced it. Just because you haven't experienced X doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So people always take up the Kalama Sutta, and there's this quote that's going around the internet that's not what the Buddha says in the Kalama Sutta. They quote the Kalama Sutta incorrectly, and so it's just a paraphrase saying, don't believe anything unless it agrees with your common sense and reason. But, both of those things can be totally wrong, right? Common sense is what, the sense that people have in common, and your reason can be totally can be totally off, because you can reason anything based on logic, based on reasoning. You can there's this argument as to why God doesn't exist or something. But just you can come to any conclusion through logic. The point of the Kalama Sutta is that yes, you shouldn't believe in something, but as Palanyani said, that doesn't mean that you should be actively skeptical. Buddha didn't teach skepticism. He taught balance and impartiality. So someone comes and says something to you, you should give them the 50-50% chance. And if based on your experiences in the past, there's something that goes against what they say, then you start to adjust that. But to say, I don't give it any credence or any possibility or any percentage of being true just because I haven't experienced it, I think is quite simplistic, and it's a little bit of a cop-out. And it's a cause for a great amount of argument. Right? How do you know this? How do you know that? Well, there's a lot of things that I don't know, but I've heard other people talk about them, or based on my own experience, I can understand how it makes the most sense to be this or to be that, and therefore I go with it. As opposed to trying to prove everything, right? So, if it were really important to believe in Rupa or matter, then maybe you'd have something. But it's not really important to believe in it or not believe in it. It's not really an important part of the practice. So the most important thing is to, when you do experience what appears to be matter, you experience it objectively for what it is.